Today we're going to talk about severe weather and weather safety. All right, so thunderstorms are intense local storms that form strong winds, heavy rain, lightning, thunder, and sometimes they often form hail. Here's an example. I'm sure you've seen one. All right, so how do they form? So let's do a visualize it. This is from your textbook. So in the first stage, the warm air is going to rise up and basically form this cloud through the process of condensation. The water vapor is going to be releasing energy and it condenses into the cloud droplets. And it continues to build and increase air motion, and the cloud continues to build up. Because of that, it continues to grow and it will flatten out at the top, creating an anvil shape. And ice particles may form in the low temperatures near the top of this cloud. As they begin to grow large, they begin to fall and pull air with them, and so they comes down. And this is going to create a strong downdraft, and that brings with it this heavy rain and sometimes even hail. If hail's going to form, it's going to get caught and it's going to cycle. Cool down, warm up, cool down, warm up. And that's why hail's different sizes. Every time it falls and it goes back up, it gains another layer. It gets caught in the updraft that kicks it back up to the top of the cloud. This kind of cloud is known as a cumulonimbus cloud. And during the final stage, the downdraft spreads out and blocks the warm air from moving up into the cloud, and this is when the storm will eventually slow down and end. All right, so in thunderstorms, you have two main features. You have thunder and you have lightning. So lightning is an electric discharge that happens between a positive charge area and a negative charge area. Now this can happen three ways, okay? The first way is when it happens in the cloud. So from here to here, okay? This is the first way, and this is called intra-cloud. It's in the same cloud. The second way is when it's going from here to here. This is way 2. We'll add a 1 over here. And way 2 is intercloud, meaning it's from cloud 1 to cloud 2. And then the last way is from here to down here, and this is way 3. And way 3 is going to be cloud to ground, okay? All right, then we have thunder. And thunder is the sound created by the rapid expansion of the air from the lightning strike. So it's the air created when that lightning physically strikes. Obviously, the closer it is, the closer it's going to be because the sound will be much quicker. So one more time, 3 types of lightning. Intra-cloud means same cloud. Intercloud, which is different clouds, or cloud to cloud, and cloud to ground is when it hits from the cloud to the surface of the ground. All right, thunderstorm safety. Obviously, common sense is going to be the necessity. Seek shelter if you hear thunder or if you see lightning. You want to get inside. If you have to be outside, stay away from trees. If you have to be outside long term, get in a flat area and get close to the ground, because generally lightning strikes, if it does strike, the tallest surface, and you don't want to be the tallest surface, especially if you're in a field. Stay away from water, shower, pool, hot tub, anything. Get into a car if possible. I know that seems silly because the car is metal. However, the car does have 4 giant insulation pieces that are the tires. And if you're inside, avoid using electrical appliances or running water. And the reason is, in the electrical appliances, the lightning can strike and run through the cords or the power source. And in running water, it can strike your pipes and run through an electrocute. So definitely avoid those things. One of the National Weather Service slogans is when thunder roars, go indoors. And that's why you also have to wait 30 minutes to either get back in a pool or consume or continue to do activities outside. All right, second type of severe weather is a hurricane, and that's going to be a tropical low pressure system with winds blowing at speeds of 119 kilometers per hour or more, which roughly translates to 75 miles per hour. Okay, and this basically begins as a cluster of thunderstorms over tropical water. A lot of times they begin as tropical waves off the coast of Africa, and they travel across the warm Atlantic. And that water evaporates from the ocean. And when it does, it's transferring the energy from the water into the air and creates kind of an instability. And it creates those tall clouds, those cumulonimbus clouds we talked about in thunderstorms, and it develops strong winds. When that happens, those winds blow across the water in different directions, and it forms a low pressure system. Basically, where we talked about in the video before, the low pressure system we know spirals in. So all of these are swirling in, and because of that, they're creating this right here, which is the hurricane eye. And that's the strongest part of the storm. All right, so hurricanes grow and continue to grow bigger and bigger, and as they grow bigger, they generally also grow stronger in strength and intensity when they're over warm water, which is one of the reasons they often thrive in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean in months from June through, say, October. The water's very warm, and it's what we would call a fueling ground. It does weaken when it hits land, and often if it hits cooler water, it does weaken that as well. So the dangers to hurricanes are strong winds, heavy rain, large ocean waves. The most dangerous part is the storm surge, and that's when winds blow large amounts of ocean water onto shore, and it causes extreme flooding. The bigger the storm surge. Also, it can cause and create giant spin-off tornadoes along and embedded within those thunderstorms. Now, the Saffir-Simpson scale is the scale that we use to measure hurricanes, and it's ranked from 1 to 5. Obviously, 1 is very minimal, and then a 5 is catastrophic. If you have hurricane safety, if you live near the water, specifically that of an ocean or a gulf, you have to plan to evacuate after you have secured all loose items on property, covered windows, of course, listened and created a plan through your weather report. If you stay when the hurricane hits, you want to make sure you're indoors and away from windows that are hopefully boarded up. And after the storm, or even in the middle of the storm, be aware of down power lines, hanging branches, flooding areas, because if that line is still alive or still live, it could trigger electrocution. A lot of people sometimes go out in the middle of a hurricane when it's the eye and they think they're safe. But in reality, the second half of that hurricane, when the eye wall comes back on the shore or comes back over wherever you are, that's actually the strongest part of the storm, causing the most devastation. All right, the third type of severe weather is a tornado. And it's a destructive rotating column of air with very high wind speeds, and generally it's a visible funnel cloud. Sometimes that funnel cloud is wrapped up in rain, so it's not as visible and you can't see it as well, but it is always still going to be there. So how do they form? Well, a thunderstorm meets horizontal winds at high altitudes and causes that wind to spin and join that warm air. As it does, it creates this funnel-shaped low pressure area, and those winds are going to be incredibly intense within it. So this is what you're going to get as a result. Most occur in Tornado Alley, which is in the Midwest of the United States, over areas such as Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, etc. They commonly occur in the spring and the early summer because that's when the air tends to be the most unstable. It's measured with what's known as the Fujita scale right here. And this Fujita scale goes from an EF0 all the way down to an EF5, and an EF5 is pretty much catastrophic. The winds can be up to 400 kilometers per hour, which is over 200 miles per hour. So it shows you how an EF0 would be a light damage all the way up to incredible damage, which pretty much nothing's going to be left if you hit the 4 or 5 mark. Now, one thing you need to understand is it is a funnel cloud until it touches the ground. Tornado equals ground contact. If it doesn't touch the ground, it is only known as a funnel cloud. All right, so tornado safety, I'm sure you remember in school. You would want to find shelter in a location without windows, preferably a basement, underground, or storm shelter, storm cellar. If you don't have that, then you want to get to the interior of your home, room without windows, such as maybe an interior bathroom or closet. If you're outside, you want to get in a ditch that's as low as possible or any low-lying area. And of course, you want to duck and cover, protecting your head and your neck by covering your hands. It's also been proven that one of the safest things you can do if you're at home or readily available and near a helmet is to put that helmet on. The one thing you want to protect more than anything is your head. So How do you stay safe for severe weather? You want to plan ahead and always have a storm supply kit ready, especially if you were to live in Tornado Alley or you were to live near the coast and need a hurricane plan. Always practice escape routes if that's something that's planned and necessary where you live. One of the biggest important things is listening for watches and warnings. Listen for the updates. A watch means the conditions are right for severe weather. If you're under a tornado watch, that means it could happen. However, if you are under a tornado warning, that means severe weather has physically been spotted and it is heading your way. So if it's a tornado warning, that means it is either Doppler indicated, meaning that the meteorologists, the people that study weather, have seen it on their radar, or somebody has seen it in person, so take shelter immediately. Same with severe weather warnings and blizzard weather warnings, etc. And then something to always know, follow flood safety rules and always stay out of floodwaters, even if it's just a flash flood, because water moves very quickly and it can take anything and everything with it. So always want to head towards higher ground.